Welcome to the Comfortable Journey with Susan. I'm Susan, your trusted travel advisor. If you are 60 or older and planning a cruise, the booking decisions you make now will determine whether you rest comfortably or struggle once on board. Most regrets don't happen at sea. They happen during booking, choosing the wrong cabin, overlooking insurance, or accepting a great deal without understanding the trade-offs. Today, we'll cover 10 booking decisions that cause the most regret for senior travelers. This is smart planning. Let's start with number 10. Number 10, the isolation cell. Here's what most seniors don't realize until it's too late. If you report symptoms of illness to the ship's medical staff, the response is immediate isolation. This isn't a suggestion or a recommendation. It is an enforced policy. You will be legally confined to your cabin for 24 to 48 hours to prevent disease spread. That fever you thought would get you some medicine? It just cost you the port day you've been anticipating and the family dinner you planned. For older travelers managing multiple health conditions, this creates an impossible choice. Do you report the chest discomfort and risk isolation? Or do you stay quiet and potentially worsen? The cruise line has the authority to isolate passengers who are ill, and once that decision is made, your schedule is no longer yours. Before you book, understand this policy exists. In a moment, I'll explain the medical assumption that causes even bigger financial damage. Number 9, the foreign law memory wipe. Most seniors assume their rights travel with them. They don't. You booked through a U.S. website. The ship has a U.S. brand name. You paid in U.S. dollars. None of that matters once you're in international waters or docked in a foreign port. You are subject to that country's laws, not U.S. law. A minor dispute over a taxi fare or an accident during an excursion is handled by local authorities. The ship's security cannot intervene. The U.S. Embassy cannot get you out of jail. For seniors who grew up expecting certain legal protections, this is a jarring reality. If something goes wrong on foreign soil, the systems you're familiar with do not apply. Your leverage is gone. This is not you being difficult. This is understanding jurisdiction before you need to. Here's the pattern I want you to watch for. Every item we're covering involves surrendering control without realizing it. Number 8, the viral mixing bowl. The highest risk of getting sick happens in the first 24 hours. Here's why. The boarding process is chaos. Thousands of passengers are funneled through confined spaces for muster drills, buffet lines, and embarkation check-in before the ship's ventilation system has fully cycled clean air. This creates a mixing environment for respiratory viruses. Cruise ship travel presents a documented risk of acquiring these viruses, and the crowding on day 1 amplifies it. For seniors with compromised immune systems or underlying respiratory conditions, symptoms often appear by day 3 or 4. That's the middle of your trip ruined. Not because you were careless on board, but because the exposure happened before you even unpacked. You deserve a cabin that supports your health, and that starts with understanding when the risk is highest. Next, I'll show you the medical facility misunderstanding that turns emergencies into financial disasters. Number 7, the infirmary illusion. Passengers view the ship's medical center as a hospital. The system views it as a stabilization unit. Medical facilities and services on cruise ships are limited and are not the same as those in the United States. The staff's primary authority is deciding whether you are fit to sail or must be disembarked. They are often not specialists in geriatric care or complex conditions like heart arrhythmias or diabetic emergencies. If your condition exceeds their equipment, their only protocol is removal from the vessel at the next port. For older travelers managing chronic conditions, this is critical. The medical center is not equipped to provide the ongoing specialized care you may need. Their job is stabilization and decision-making about your continued presence on the ship. So you're not stuck arguing with staff after a medical event. Understand this boundary before you board. Remember, this repeats every day of the trip until you reach home port. Number 6. The distance trap. Modern cruise ships exceed 3 football fields in length. That's not marketing language. That's the actual walking distance. If you have limited mobility and you book a cabin far from the elevator banks, you've created a distance trap. The exertion required just to reach the dining room or the gangway for disembarkation leads to exhaustion. Cruise ships require a significant amount of walking. Instead of enjoying the ship, you're forced to stay in the cabin because the energy cost of leaving is too high. This isn't about being lazy or needy. This is about physics and endurance. The ship's layout does not adjust to your mobility. You must adjust your cabin selection to the layout. Before you confirm that great rate on a cabin at the far end of a corridor, calculate the walk. In a moment, I'll explain the cabin location that destroys your sleep starting at 5 in the morning. Number 5. The forward fulcrum. Cabins at the very front of the ship feel the most motion. Here's the physics. The forward section acts as a fulcrum. When the ship hits rough water, the vertical movement here is significantly more violent than in the middle sections. If you are prone to seasickness, avoiding these cabins is essential. For seniors dealing with vertigo, balance issues, or general mobility decline, this movement makes simply walking across your room dangerous during high seas. You're not just dealing with nausea, you're dealing with fall risk in a confined space with hard surfaces and sharp corners. The ship's design creates this amplification of motion, and it cannot be corrected once you're underway. Comfort planning is not indulgent, it is preparation. Here's the cabin feature that makes privacy impossible. Number 4. The connecting door leak. Booking a cabin with a connecting door is a massive mistake for travelers who value uninterrupted rest. These doors are often marketed to families who want to stay close. What they don't advertise is the soundproofing. The door is not as soundproof as a wall. If you have loud neighbors, you will hear everything. Conversations, television volume, late-night arguments. You become an unwilling participant in their schedule and their stress. If you need peace and quiet to support your health or simply unwind, this creates a high-stress environment where rest is nearly impossible. You can't control your neighbor's behavior, and the crew cannot move you once you're assigned. So you don't have to explain yourself on board or beg for a room transfer. Avoid connecting door cabins unless you're traveling with your own family. Next, the money-saving decision that costs you control. Number 3. The guarantee gamble. Booking a guaranteed cabin means letting the cruise line pick your room. You get a small discount. Here's what you surrender. You are giving up control of where your cabin is located. The inventory algorithm assigns leftover rooms that nobody else wanted. Obstructed views, cabins near the engine, spots directly under the pool deck or above the theater. Once assigned, the crew on board has zero authority to move you to a better location. The algorithm made the decision, not a person you can negotiate with. If you prioritize sleep, mobility, and a predictable environment, this gamble rarely pays off. The discount isn't worth losing control over the 2 factors that determine comfort: location and noise. This is smart planning, not being picky. It's a wake-up call that makes sleep impossible. Number 2. The 5 a.m. alarm clock. If you book a cabin directly under the Lido deck, your day begins at 5 in the morning. Here's why. The deck crew wakes up early to set up pool deck chairs. They drag hundreds of heavy lounge chairs across the floor above your head to clean and arrange them. You will hear scraping of chairs starting at 5 a.m. The sound vibrates through the ceiling. For light sleepers or seniors managing sleep disruption from medications or chronic pain, this makes rest impossible. Cabins on higher decks sound appealing because you're closer to the action. What you're actually closer to is industrial-level noise during the hours your body needs to recover. This happens every single morning of the cruise. So you're not stuck asking for help after you're exhausted. Avoid cabins directly under the pool deck. Now, the assumption that causes financial catastrophe. Number 1. The Medicare myth. This is the single most dangerous assumption seniors make when booking a cruise. Many book believing their standard U.S. health insurance or Medicare travels with them. It does not. U.S. Medicare and Medicaid do not provide coverage outside the United States. If you suffer a heart event or a fall on board, the ship's infirmary bill is out of pocket. If evacuation is required, medical evacuation can cost $100,000 or more, paid up front. But the nightmare doesn't end with the hospital bill. Even if you secure insurance for treatment, many seniors forget medical repatriation, the cost of getting home with a nurse escort or on a specialized medical flight. Standard travel insurance sometimes caps this expense too low, leaving you responsible for the gap. This mistake turns a vacation into a financial catastrophe that drains retirement savings. For older travelers with pre-existing conditions or higher statistical risk of medical events, this is not optional coverage. It is essential protection. Confirm your policy provides coverage outside the United States and includes medical evacuation before you book. Do not board without it. Most cruise regret doesn't happen at sea. It happens quietly during booking, when you choose cabins, medical coverage, and room features without realizing how deeply those choices will affect sleep, mobility, and peace of mind. Once the ship sails, the mistake feels permanent and exhausting. This video exists to change that. Before you click confirm, you'll learn what to avoid, what protects your body, and what preserves your dignity. Real medical coverage. Cabins that support rest and balance. Features that reduce motion and stress. Comfort planning isn't indulgence, it's relief. And by the end of this video, that relief begins. This is the comfortable journey with Susan. Travel well.